And now may I ask, Mr. Worthing, who is that young person whose hand my nephew Algernon is now holding in what seems to me a peculiarly unnecessary manner?
That young lady is Miss Cicely Cardew, my ward.
I'm engaged to be married to Cicely, Aunt Augusta.
I beg your pardon?
Mr. Moncrief and I are engaged to be married, Lady Bracknell.
I do not know whether there is anything peculiarly exciting in the air of this particular part of Hertfordshire, but the number of engagements that go on seems to me to be considerably above the proper average that statistics have laid down for our guidance. Mr. Worthing, is Miss Cardew at all connected with any of the larger railway stations in London?
Lady Bracknell, Miss Cicely Cardew is the granddaughter of the late Mr. Thomas Cardew.
How interesting. Come, Gwendolen, the time approaches for our departure.
Yes, Mamma.
As a matter of form, Mr. Worthing, I had better ask you if Miss Cardew has any little fortune.
Oh, about £130,000, that is all. Goodbye, Lady Bracknell. So pleased to have seen you.
A moment, Mr. Worthing. £130,000. Gwendolen, sit down.
Yes, Mamma.
Miss Cardew seems a most attractive young lady now that I look at her. Oh, well, I suppose I must give my consent. Cicely, you may kiss me.
I beg your pardon for interrupting you, Lady Bracknell, but this engagement is quite out of the question. I am Miss Cardew's guardian, and she cannot marry without my consent until she comes of age. That consent I positively decline to give.
Upon what grounds, may I ask?
It pains me very much to have to speak to you frankly, Lady Bracknell, about your nephew Algernon. But the fact is I do not approve at all of his moral character. I suspect him of being untruthful.
Untruthful? My nephew Algernon? Impossible. He was at Oxford.
This afternoon, during my temporary absence in London, he gained admission to my house by means of a false pretense of being my brother. In the course of his disgraceful deception, he succeeded in alienating the affections of my only ward. He subsequently stayed to tea and devoured every single muffin.
Mr. Worthing, after careful consideration, I have decided entirely to overlook my nephew's conduct to you.
That is very generous of you, Lady Bracknell. My own decision, however, remains unalterable. I decline to give my consent.
Cicely, how old are you, sweet child?
18, Lady Bracknell.
18. Well, it will not be very long before you are of age. And so I don't think your guardian's consent is a matter of any importance.
Pray excuse me, Lady Bracknell, for interrupting you again, but it is only fair to point out to you that according to the terms of her grandfather's will, Miss Cardew does not come legally of age until she is 35.
35? Cicely, is this true?
Yes, Lady Bracknell. Algy, could you wait for me till I was 35?
Of course I could, Cicely. You know I could.
Well, I couldn't. I hate waiting even 5 minutes for anybody. It always makes me rather cross.
Then what is to be done, Cicely?
I don't know.
My dear Mr. Worthing, as Miss Cardew states positively that she cannot wait until she's 35, a remark which I am bound to say seems to me to show a somewhat impatient nature. I would beg of you to reconsider your decision.
My dear Lady Bracknell, the matter is entirely in your own hands. The moment you consent to my engagement to Gwendolen, I will most gladly permit your nephew to form an alliance with my ward.
You can hardly imagine, sir, that I and Lord Bracknell would dream of allowing our only daughter, a girl brought up with the utmost care, to marry into a cloakroom and form an alliance with a parcel.
Then a passionate celibacy is all that any of us have to look forward to.
Dr. Chasuble.
Everything is quite ready for the christenings.
The christening, sir? Is not that somewhat premature?
Both these gentlemen have expressed a desire for immediate baptism.
At their age? Algernon, I forbid you to be baptized. I will not hear of such excesses.
Am I to understand, then, that there are to be no christenings at all this afternoon?
I hardly think that as things are now, it would be of much practical value to either of us, Dr. Chasuble.
Then, if you would excuse me, Mr. Worthing, I would return to the church at once. I have just been informed that for the last hour and a half, Miss Prism has been waiting for me in the vestry.
Miss Prism? Dr. Chasuble, did I hear you mention a Miss Prism?
Yes, Lady Bracknell.
Pray allow me to detain you for a moment. This matter may prove to be one of vital importance to Lord Bracknell and myself. Is this Miss Prism a female of repellent aspect remotely connected with education?
She is the most cultivated of ladies, and the very picture of respectability.
No, it is obviously the same person. Let her be sent for.
Dr. Chasuble.
She approaches. She is nigh.
I'm told you were expecting me in the vestry, dear doctor. I have been waiting for you.
Prism.
Lady Bracknell.
Come here, Prism. Prism, come here.
Oh.
Prism, where is that baby?
A baby?
34 years ago, Prism, You left Lord Bracknell's house in charge of a perambulator that contained a baby of the male sex. You never returned. A few weeks later, the perambulator was discovered at midnight, standing by itself in a remote corner of Bayswater. But the baby was not there. Prism, where is that baby?
Lady Bracknell, I admit the shame that I do not know. I only wish I did. On the morning of the day you mention, I prepared as usual to take the baby out of the perambulator. I had also with me a somewhat old but capacious handbag, in which I had intended to place the manuscript of a work of fiction that I had written during my few unoccupied hours. In a moment of mental abstraction, for which I never can forgive myself, I deposited the manuscript in the bassinet and placed the baby in the handbag.
But where did you deposit the handbag?
Do not ask me, Mr. Worthing.
Miss Prism, I insist upon knowing where you deposited the handbag that contained that infant.
I left it in the cloakroom of one of the larger railway stations in London.
Which railway station?
Victoria, the Brighton line.
Gwendolyn, everybody, wait for me here. I must retire to my room for a moment.
What do you think all this means, Lady Bracknell?
I dare not even suspect, Dr. Chasuble. I need hardly tell you that in families of high position, strange coincidences are not supposed to occur.
Uncle Jack seems strangely agitated.
I wish he would arrive at some conclusion.
The suspense is terrible. I hope it will last.
Miss Prism, is this the handbag? The happiness of more than one life depends upon your answer. Examine it carefully before you speak.
It seems to be mine. Yes. Here is the stain on the lining caused by the explosion of a temperance beverage. And here, on the lock, are my initials. The bag is undoubtedly mine. I am delighted to have it so unexpectedly restored to me. It has been a great inconvenience being without it all these years.
Miss Prism, more is restored to you than the handbag. I was the baby you placed in it.
You?
Yes. Mother!
I am unmarried.
Unmarried? Oh, I don't deny that is a serious blow. But after all, who has the right to cast a stone against one who has suffered? Cannot repentance wipe out an act of folly? Why should there be one law for men and another for women? Mother, I forgive you.
Mr. Worthing, there is some error. There is the lady who can tell you who you really are.
Lady Bracknell, I hate to seem inquisitive. Could you kindly inform me who I am?
You are the son of my poor sister, Mrs. Moncrief, and consequently Algernon's elder brother.
Algy's elder brother? Then I have a brother after all. I knew I had a brother. I always said I had a brother. Gwendolyn, dearest.
My own. But what own are you? What is your Christian name now that you've become someone else?
Good heavens, I'd quite forgotten that point. Aunt Augusta, at the time when Miss Prism left me in the handbag, had I been christened already?
Every luxury that money could buy, including christening, had been lavished on you by your fond and doting parents.
Then I was christened, that's settled. Now, what name was I given? Let me know the worst.
Being the eldest son, you were naturally called after your father.
Yes, but what was my father's Christian name?
I cannot at the moment recall what the General's Christian name was.
Oh.
But I've no doubt he had one.
Algy, can't you recollect what our father's Christian name was?
My dear boy, we were never even on speaking terms. He died before I was a year old.
His name would appear in the army list of the period, I suppose. I have a copy here on the bookshelf. Let me see. M. Markby, Migsby, Mobbs. Here it is, Moncrief. Lieutenant 1840, Captain, Lieutenant Colonel, Colonel, General 1869. Christian names. Earnest. John. I always told you, didn't I, Gwendolyn, that my name was Earnest? Well, you see, it is Earnest after all. I mean, it naturally is Earnest.
Ernest. My own Ernest, I felt from the first you could have no other name.
Gwendolyn, it's a terrible thing for a man suddenly to find out that all his life he's been speaking nothing but the truth. Can you forgive me?
I can, for I feel that you are sure to change.
My own one.
Dr. Chasuble.
Miss Prism, at last. Cicely, at last.
Darling.
Gwendolyn, at last.
Darling.
My nephew, you seem to be displaying signs of triviality.
On the contrary, Aunt Augusta, I've now realized for the first time in my life the vital importance of being earnest.
Starring John Gielgud as John Worthing, other members of the John Gielgud Company included Pamela Brown as Gwendolen, Robert Fleming as Algernon, Margaret Rutherford as Lady Bracknell, Jane Baxter as Cicely, Jean Cadell as Miss Prism, John Kidd as the Reverend Chasuble, Richard Wordsworth as Lane, Stringer Davis as Merriman.